Welcome back to the 30 Years of Summer right here on Lucha Review, and in tonight's main event, we are taking on Sonic the Hedgehog. It is the 30th anniversary of Sega's trademark classic character. Sonic, I don't care how fast you run, you can never outrun the wrath of the Lucha Review. This is my game, son, and once I catch up to you, I will crush you. Tag yourselves in, and let's take on the nerdy and dirty.
The Sega Genesis debuted in time for the holiday shopping spree in 1989, and with it came a fun lineup of games. There was Altered Beast and Golden Axe, and then there was... Actually, that was pretty much it. Those were the only games worth playing. Despite the console's exclusives, the Sega Genesis failed to do any significant damage to Nintendo's popularity and profits. I'm guessing the top brass at Sega started getting frustrated over it, because their ads started getting pretty vicious. Rather than sell you on how and why their products are better, they just insulted you for remaining loyal to someone else's with digs like,
Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Nah.
Every single commercial I saw for the Genesis had an insult for Nintendo's loyal fan base. Well, Sega, if you're gonna treat me like an asshole, then I'm gonna act like one, so let's see what happens when we meet your first attempt at a mascot. In 1991, after a year of unsuccessful attempts to beat out Nintendo, Sega released Sonic the Hedgehog. The goal was for the console to have its own mascot or figurehead, like how Nintendo had done with Super Mario. Sonic's design was an excellent nod to the early versions of Walt Disney's beloved characters, and his mischievous Bart Simpson vibe surely helped move a lot of merchandise. Right off the bat, before the game even starts, Sonic is finger-wagging you. It's quite possible that he's trying to tell you not to play the game, but all he manages to get out is Sega, and that stupid-ass jingle became a permanent addition to Sega's already tiresome ad campaign. The game is aesthetically pleasing while its soundtrack makes you feel like you're playing something exciting, but once you're a few seconds into it, not so much. For a game that was designed to lure players away from Super Mario Bros., the game looks and feels a lot like the fucking Super Mario Bros. You run around, you collect rings, you jump on bad guys, and if you've collected enough rings, then you get to jump through a big ring where you're floating around in the clouds in a bonus game that allows you to collect more rings. One touch from the enemy and the rings fly all over the place. It's sort of helpful, because as long as you have one ring in your possession, the enemy cannot kill you. But if you fall into a pit, you're fucked. Oh, and just like in the Super Mario Bros., falling into a pit means defying the fucking laws of physics. If you're going to pop back up from a bottomless pit like it's a trampoline, then why can't you just land safely on the ground next to it? Why were these developers from the 90s so bent on mocking players who wanted to just have fun with their bad game?
The game isn't bad. It has blast processing.
Oh yeah? What's blast processing? To this day, players remind us about the blast processing like the morons who kept talking about electrolytes and idiocracy. Does blast processing mean the game just moves too fast for you to see what the fuck you're doing? Because that's not fun at all. And you can take your Nintendo Don't campaign and shove it up your ass because you clearly never played Star Wars Speeder Toads. No, really, tell me why blast processing makes this game better. Because if you can just ignore everything in the level by zipping through it in a few seconds, then what's the point of even playing the game? I'm a joy in the journey type of guy, so I chose to explore each level. But even that was hard to do, because for a character that's supposed to be super fast, Sonic moves around like a lumbering drunk, while the jump button doesn't seem all that responsive. In the interest of full disclosure, I do not own a Genesis. This footage was pulled off of the Sega Genesis Classics collection for the PS4, so maybe this was simply a problem in translation? Either way, a character that's supposed to run fast and jump high should have been a little easier to control, and the PS4 must have sensed how pissed off I was because it kept giving me an option to stop playing. So I took it, because this game is a fucking jobber. I warned you, Sega, if you're gonna treat me like an asshole, then I'm gonna act like one. Your blast processing moved Sonic real fast, alright. right to the fucking clearance bin faster than anything I've seen from Nintendo, who now owns Sonic's prickly ass. If Genesis does what Nintendo don't, then I'm guessing Sega was referring to making bad games on Flavor of the Month consoles. Nintendo isn't perfect, they do lay an egg every once in a while, but next week, the final 30 Years of Summer episode takes a look at one of their crowning achievements. It's the 30th anniversary of the Super Nintendo's release, and it's coming up next week. Thanks for tagging in, and have a good night.